Welcome to the Safe Supportive Schools Learning Collaborative Schools Training, Module 4. I'm Tiffany Beeson, one of the NCS3 faculty. In this fourth module, we will provide some foundational learning about cultural humility and awareness. This training is being brought to you by the National Center for Safe Supportive Schools, or NCS3, which is part of the National Child Traumatic Stress Network. Here are some shared agreements to get the most benefit of the modules. First, participate fully by engaging in the content while also taking care of yourself. Please take a moment now to minimize distraction. And then have a beginner's mind. I invite you to take on a beginner's mind by looking at the topic through a fresh lens and see what you can add to your existing knowledge base. We will now do a reflection activity related to courageous conversations. This compass on the screen is from Glenn Singleton's book titled Beyond Random Acts of Equity: Courageous Conversations About Transforming Systemic Culture. It was created to help people understand how we each naturally process and engage with information about race and understand others' opinions and beliefs. According to the compass, there are 4 ways that people generally engage in conversations about race, represented by the 4 quadrants you see. The emotional quadrant reflects those who respond to conversations about race primarily through their emotions. Information resonates at a physical level and evokes feelings. For example, anger, sadness, or joy. The intellectual quadrant represents cognitive responses. There may be a personal or emotional disconnect with information about race, and a particular interest in searching for data to confirm or deny what one is hearing. In the moral quadrant, one responds from deep-seated beliefs about the information one is hearing. The focus is on the rightness or wrongness of a given issue, and the justification for moral views rests in one's gut. And in the relational quadrant, one responds through action. That is, there is a preference for action over talk, and behaviors and actions reflect one's perspectives about race. According to Singleton, it is possible to live in all 4 quadrants of the compass, but we each have a tendency to relate more strongly to a particular quadrant. And typically, the quadrant opposite the one that resonates most strongly is the one that provides our greatest opportunity for growth as we relate to others. If time allows, pause the video to reflect on which quadrant most resonates with you right now. Then look at the other quadrants and assess which one of these provides your greatest opportunity for growth and openness as you have conversations about race. A challenge for today and moving forward is to remain aware of where you are on the compass and to seek balance in your engagement among the 4 quadrants. In Module 3, you learned about cultural responsiveness, anti-racism, and equity, or CARE, in schools. Today, we will focus more on engaging you in learning and reflecting on cultural humility and awareness, a bit of a prerequisite to effectively implementing CARE practices in schools. It is our hope that by the end of today's session, you will be able to define 2 to 3 foundational terms related to cultural humility and awareness, and develop an understanding of why cultural humility is important for promoting safe, supportive schools. We will then invite you to reflect on your personal identity, values, and beliefs. And lastly, you will identify at least one strategy for prioritizing equity and cultural responsiveness in your role at your school. Just a reminder that you may hear us use some terms interchangeably in these schools training modules. We are aware that different communities may have terms that resonate for them. Language is always evolving, and we encourage you to explore the preferred language of the communities you serve. We are also aware of the potential harm caused by inadvertently using language that perpetuates oppression. And we aim to be thoughtful about the language we use in our work. Our intention is to consistently use language that is accurate and person-centered, minimally does no harm, and reflects our aspirational values of cultural responsiveness, anti-racism, and equity, and focuses on strengths and resilience. Each person has a culture made up of various domains of identity. Take a moment to consider, what's one of your personal cultural values? Some examples might include resilience, belief in God or spirituality or faith, value of family, value of hospitality, etc. Cultural humility requires that we develop some level of comfort with reflecting on our own cultures and identity, and sharing this reflection with others. If time allows, pause the video to allow for silent reflection. And if possible, share your personal reflection with others. Let's talk more about what we mean when we say cultural humility. According to Tervalon and Murray Garcia, cultural humility is defined as the ability to maintain an interpersonal stance that is other-oriented or open to the other in relation to aspects of cultural identity. Those who value cultural humility seek to learn about diverse cultures. However, rather than concentrating solely on gaining knowledge about different cultures, cultural humility asks that we are open and humble when engaging with individuals from cultural backgrounds that are different from our own. Within safe and supportive schools, we intentionally avoid the language cultural competence, because this language sometimes unintentionally implies that this process of demonstrating cultural humility has an endpoint, when this is simply not the case. Rather, cultural humility is a lifelong commitment to self-evaluation and critique, to learning about diverse cultures, and a continuous commitment to working in partnership with others to limit power imbalances and dismantle systems of injustice.